my friend Bobby had passed, and I knew her daughter Kelly, and want to just let the family know, sorry for their loss. Her son Rick, and his wife Anna, and Ernie, Fabian Jr. of Smyrna, and Kelly Short and Jason Short of Albuquerque, New Mexico. But, I often talk about strange coincidences, synchronicities, God wink moments, whatever you want to call them. I know a lot of people may not believe like I do. I even kid folks in my Sunday school class that they may not even believe in strange coincidences. But I think it was Einstein that said coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous. And that was Einstein, probably the smartest guy to ever live. And but her husband, Bobby's husband, Dole Short, would often call me, and he loved talking politics. He'd always call me. He was the first door, well, technically second door I ever knocked on. And it was hot, man. I remember he invited us in, and I'm not good at knocking on doors because, believe it or not, I'm there an hour.
And next you're going to say you're shy, right?
I am shy.
Yeah.
But they invite me in, and I start, I know the families and start listening to them, talk to them. Anyways, I'm not really good at hitting doors. But anyways, this guy would often call me, and her husband Dole, and he'd say, Mike, remember the Masonic Lodge pancake breakfast next Saturday? He was the guy who would just call me. And my friend Lori North, my wife's one of her best friends, Lori North, she was a councilman, I think, at the time in Smyrna. We were doing that Meals on Wheels, and I never do that kind of stuff. I just volunteered to help her. And we got a text from my buddy Harold Grider. A lot of folks know Harold Grider over on Chicken Pike. And it was a text, and it said, Dole Short passed away. This was at least 6 or 7 years ago. And we were at their house within 5, maybe 6 minutes, Lori and I. A lot of family members gathering around, friends coming, church members coming around the house to comfort Bobby. And I went to the funeral and all. And I promise you, I got a text, if it wasn't a week or 2 weeks later, from Dole Short. Remember, he died. Okay. I got a text. I promise you. I got a text and said, Mike, remember the pancake breakfast this Saturday? I thought, told my wife, this is crazy. This guy passed away like 3 weeks ago. And I see Bobby at church, and she's just a beautiful lady, just a sweet soul. And I said, Bobby, was he really good at technology? Like phones and all? She said, no, he could barely use his phone. I said, well, I'm just going to let you know I got a text from your husband the other day. And she looked at me like, whoa. But I had a little old lady in my little elderly, I should say, in my Sunday school class. And I probably shouldn't share this on the radio, but I think I've already shared it a couple years ago. Man, it was the funniest thing. Some of these folks will say some of the funniest stuff, and I shared the story, and one of her little friends, I won't say the lady's name, I said, I know it sounds crazy. I said, but I got this text after he passed, and the lady looked at me, she said, well, I can promise you, it didn't come from heaven, that's for sure. I was like, oh no, But anyways, guy I'm fixing to introduce, everybody knows this guy. Before we get into this, I want Roger Thomas, who grew up in Old Jefferson, where I think Dole was from Old Jefferson community.
Yeah, I probably knew of them. There's a lot of Shorts there, but I noticed you said Ernie Fabian. I do know the Fabians. They used to live over close to us off of Bel Air Drive. I think Bain Drive.
Okay.
Back in the day. But what I was going to tell you, that car show, the cruise-in, it was at Northern Tool this past Saturday, was rained out. And a future date hasn't been set yet. But once it is, we'll post that and tell everybody about it. And I also want to give out a shout-out to Paul Lamb and Robert Waldron, Dennis Blair, the guys from over the 661 Mason over in Smyrna. They did our rocking chairs today. We got about 14 of them. They had them broken, repair them, put a new finish on them and all that. It was
really?
Oh, yeah.
Sam Davis Lodge.
Yeah, they did it over at Sam Davis Home Day on the back.
Really?
Yeah, so, shout out to them for doing that.
Cool. Yeah. Anything else?
That'll do it for right now.
I appreciate you. You may not want to share on the air. You did a kind deed today, and
no, I didn't. Not at all. I mean, like I said, if Tiffany comes in, she may
Where
drop
are you,
in.
Tiffany? She's probably listening. She's was my faithful intern. I don't know where she's at now.
But she was there, and I think it was their first one. And they had the best seats in the house. They couldn't believe it. Yeah. I mean, like my ears are still ringing.
Yeah, you hooked my son up. I hooked up Peyton.
Yeah,
so I appreciate it.
And Tiffany, her husband, her brother, and her son, John, Tony, little Tony, and my son. See, one of my sons, a couple of my grandsons, my great granddaughter, she was there.
How many grandkids you got?
I got 5 grandkids and 1 great granddaughter.
Really?
She'll be 7 in
Wow.
December.
All right.
And I hadn't seen her in a while, that was worth its weight in gold right there. I hadn't seen her since like last year, so she's done grown another foot.
Man, they're a handful.
I know, man. And checking your nails there. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, we'll bring that up later, okay, Chairman?
Yeah.
But anyway, and some of my nephews, and my one nephew now, he is the basketball coach at Thurman Francis. Thurman Francis. The school over there. What do they call that for the smart kids?
Is that elementary or middle school?
Yeah, the one over there. The old.
It's
Thurman Francis. You're talking about Thurman Francis? No.
One of the top 5 schools.
Yeah,
in
but
the
anyway,
state.
he's the head coach, basketball coach over there.
Yeah.
So, and that's about all I've got to say.
Well, I appreciate you doing a kind deed today.
No,
and,
that's no problem. I'm glad to do it, man.
Yeah. The Rusty, you're our guest, Rusty Russ. A lot of folks know who you are. You kind of like a celebrity, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I've always heard about his fishing. I've always heard that.
Look at it. How'd you get nicknamed Big Dog? How'd you get that?
I got it from Dan, and I was always a little bit bigger than everybody else around me. Dan Furmanick, who was a co-host of Fish and Affliction. So
Now, how'd y'all get started with it? Fish and Affliction was a show you started 14, 15 years ago?
well, I did a show with Tony that was called Fish and Country did 170 episodes of that, and Dan was one of the producers, and Tony got to the point where him and his wife were battling so much we just decided he decided he wasn't going to do the show anymore. So
Really?
so I got Dan, and we ended up going to Fish and Affliction, and we shot over, I think I've shot 400 shows now. Anyway,
400.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot of shows, man.
Yeah, we were shooting 50 a year.
Really?
Yeah.
How
Many
many
times in my life.
Who's
many
your main
seasons is that?
sponsor?
Huh?
Who's been your main sponsor behind all that?
Well, I've had a bunch, but Bass Pro was a good one.
Yep.
Sarah Chevrolet was a good one. Mercury Outboards. So, there's been a lot of different Strike King lures. So anyway, and that's part of the game when you're doing this. You know that because you're in the radio business, and without sponsorships, you're not going to survive. And
Always looking for sponsors.
yeah, and but it was really enjoyable and fooling with the kids and everything. In fact, I was in a kid tournament yesterday that was put on by the Fishers of Men, which is a Christian-based organization. Every year they have a tournament, and this one, if y'all want to get in it next year, it'll be on Old Hickory, I think, and it's called the Legacy Trail with Fishers of Men, and you got to fish with somebody under 18, and I fished with my nephew Nathan, who's 14. So we had a good fun day.
Well, you called me. Well, you've called me a lot throughout the years, man. I mean, every time you call, I'm like, oh, there's Rusty. He's gonna wear me out about something. But what I like about you, man, is that you really. I mean, I heard Donald Trump speak at I guess it was a commencement at the Naval Academy or somewhere.
That was JD. That was JD.
Yeah,
Vance.
was the Army.
It
That
was
was
Trump speak.
He was
But
Yeah.
Trump had said,
Is he at West Point?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
but you got to be persistent. You can't give up. You're going to fail. You may go out there and not catch anything. I mean, you may run for office and lose. I mean, I think it was Abraham Lincoln, I think, lost 6 elections, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And you got to just continue to persevere. But one thing that I like about you, Rusty, is you don't give up. I mean, you're that, I mean, you got to be a pain in the butt sometimes to get things done. Am I right?
Well, I mean, you and I were at the House of Representatives in TWRA was there, and we were trying to get some stuff pushed through, and I'm handing out pamphlets to everybody.
Oh, was that their reception?
Oh yeah, they were having.
What were we eating? What was that we were eating?
Steaks.
No, it wasn't.
No, they were feeding everybody steaks, but I mean, I'm in there
didn't they
passing
serve
out
Asian
literature
carp?
that they don't want to see.
Really? Oh, you're painting their butt sometimes. But you know what? That's how you move things, man. What I hate is people that just go along to get along.
Yeah.
They just silent. You ever heard the term numb nuts? Mm-hmm. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
My dad used that term a lot. You got a lot
Whether
of that.
they using that on you or just other people.
No, my dad would he would use some. He was World War II, so he would use some of the funniest. What was that one? What was that one term? It's not a bad term. It's cattywampus. You ever heard cattywampus?
Cattywampus.
Cattywampus. I guess it's a real
That's
word.
an old saying, yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't heard it in a while. Marty shared a term, 2 weeks ago that I hadn't heard in a long time, which we won't share. Bart hadn't said nothing to me about it yet, so maybe Bart didn't hear it. It was about Nissan coming in back in the day. Anyways, God forgive you, Marty, if you listen. But
he is.
But you're very persistent, and you really were the first one to bring up Asian carp. I mean, to me. I mean, maybe it was out there, but you were the first one to start bringing this stuff up. Why does this matter? I mean, I think most people know what Asian carp, what they are and the problem that they've created in Tennessee.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's not just Tennessee; it's other states. Illinois got a bad problem. There's all up the Mississippi Delta. There's been big. Well, I think when you and I met with Dance, he was talking about a large marina that was like a $5 million marina on the Mississippi that completely shut down because of them.
Yeah. Well, he had, one thing he told me, and because we're talking about Bill Dance, this a big dog, excuse the pun, if you will. He told me, he said, because Marvin was with me. We was out there with Marvin. And I videoed and made a story about it. And he says, man, when I talk to these elected officials, they look at me like I got 3 horns growing out of my head. They don't even know what this stuff is, And I think that's kind of, he really reiterated what you had said, is that people need to know what's going on. And I think the federal government and the state government we have moved the needle, haven't we?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's doing a lot better, and they've got people that are catching them, but they're not going to end up getting rid of them. In fact, they're in the Cumberland River. They're in Old Hickory Lake now. So they've come upstream, and they're still moving upstream.
Wow.
So, they're in different parts of the state, and they're not in Percy Priest. Any of the lakes that are landlocked, like Center Hill or Percy Priest, they can't get into, and hopefully nobody's crazy enough to put them in there.
So none have ever been spotted in one of the other.
No.
Okay.
How did the whole Asian carp invasive species start, and how aggressive have they been?
Well, in different states, they're really super aggressive because they've got shockers and they've got sounders under the dams. But that's something that hadn't been done here. And they were, I think, given somewhere around, I might give you a little bit off, but I think they were given $19 million by the federal government last year just to fight Asian carp in the state of Tennessee. So it's something they know affects anything from jet skiers to, these things will come 4 to 5 foot in the air. Like I was in the Cumberland River the other day, and they were up in the Stones River where I put in at, and there was 8 or 10 of them that were 20 pounds went 4 to 5 foot in the air around the boat when I left out.
Has anybody ever been killed by?
I don't know if they've been killed, but I've seen a guy that it blacked half his face, tore his depth finders off his boat and everything else, and he wasn't even running fast. He was running about 35.
What's the fastest you've ever been on lake?
85.
Have you really?
Yeah, but I mean, that was when I was younger and not very smart.
Was Mike Hollingshead driving?
I have rode with Mike Hollingshead, but I try to never do that again in my whole
life. Is he mild? He's settled down a little bit, though, hasn't he?
Only when he's asleep.
Does he even sleep?
Yeah, he is. But I mean, Mike's he's like a little pit bull, man. He just, he's always been like that, and you have to admire. He's got drive and he's got ambition, and he's one of them people that never slows down.
No, he don't. One day, it was he used to go with me to the auto auction. In fact, you went up there with us a few times, I guess. And we were I had a little old card, Starbucks card, and I don't go to Starbucks. I hadn't been to Starbucks in years, and I gave it to him. Well, I thought it was $20 for a Starbucks card. I was just trying to be kind, and he seen me about a week later. He goes, "Hey man," he said, "that Starbucks card you gave me only had $1.25 on it." And he said he ordered like 4 cups of coffee, and that lady's like, "That'll be $18.05." And I was like, "Man," he thought I really did it on purpose. I said, "Man, I didn't know." I was just trying to be nice. But anyways, ask him about it sometime. He ain't scared of nothing though. You know what? He ain't scared of nothing, man. No. I did a proclamation. Now I'll tell you when he did get scared. Seriously, this is one time he did get scared. Well, you know the story, don't you? I had a little surprise House resolution, proclamation, whatever you want to call it, and I was new, and it may be my first year or something. And, that's back when Mike was just, pouring some slabs and, driveways, that sort of thing. I mean, he hadn't really, struck it as big as he is now, and Jeff and my son Preston grew up together and hung out a lot. And so I want to do some little surprise for Mike. And he was like, well, we're walking the state capitol. He goes, what are we doing? What are we doing? It was a total surprise. And I said, hey, just hold tight, man. It's going to be okay. I got this. And so we walk up, and he's still nervous. He goes, what are we doing? What are we doing, man? And we were right outside the governor's office, standing there. He goes, what's going on, man? What are we doing? And I said, hey, you've been talking about excessive regulation on the concrete industry for years. I said, they've got this committee formed, this joint task force about regulation on the concrete industry, and I've got you set up to testify on it. He goes, no. He got so scared. He goes, no, I'm not speaking. And he was like a little crybaby. And about that time, Governor Haslam opened the door and said, hey, Mike, how you doing? I said, Mike, this guy, and they just immediately started talking, and Jeff was there, and went back, got to hang out with the governor for a little bit, but I'm gonna tell you, Mike, if he's listening, which he probably ain't, he's probably on his jet somewhere, and that was see, a lot of people are scared of public speaking. A lot of people, and it does get a little nervous, and you've got to get, speak in front of a large crowd, and it's televised. I mean, but it really ended up going good, But the proclamation, when I put this thing together, I wanted it to be totally different. I didn't want it to be this status quo type proclamation. I put in there, he started mowing grass at 6 years of age, where he could only grab the bottom handle, grew up in the trailer park. I mean, I had it was just totally anti-status quo. It was totally real, just keeping it real. And it was really good. I remember, I don't know, I hope he's got it in his office, but anyways, I appreciate the hard work Mike and Jeff both, and Ryan and Connie have done for and the things they've done for our community, but he's one of the hardest working guys I've ever known.
Well, his office is a little bigger now too. What is it, 90,000 square feet?
Oh wow, that's beautiful, man. Yeah. We had Secretary of State Trey Hargett over there, I guess about 2 years ago. It's a beautiful, beautiful building. It really is.
Well, he's gone a long way from just pouring concrete in Smyrna, because now he's pouring concrete on a 24/7 license in Manhattan.
Wow.
And 24/7 license in Nashville, Tennessee too. So he's got, I'm not sure how many plants he's got now, but I know he's got over 600.
I was going to say, I thought it was 600.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. That, you ever poured concrete?
Yeah.
Man, it's some hard work, dude.
I finished it. I poured
Have
it.
you really?
Yeah.
It's some hard work shoveling that mud. Man, I remember I helped build our former swimming pool with Dan Ross. Remember Dan Ross built
that
houses?
Must have been about an 8 by 8 if you helped build.
It was man, I was 12 or 13. It was July, and I was shoveling gravel. Man, I ended up, you ever had heat stroke?
Yeah.
Man, I had heat stroke, brother. It knocked me out.
Did you mix it in the wheelbarrow itself?
I was just shoveling gravel. I was just he said, come here, son, just shovel gravel all day. Man, I was the son.
And that was when you decided you wanted to be a state house of representative guys where you didn't have to.
There's a fork in the road. I'm going this other direction. No, I respect them guys that do that, man. It is just some, other than roofing, I'd say is roofing harder than pouring concrete?
Depends on what the day's like. I was on a roof about two months ago working on one.
Really?
Yeah, on a building I own. I sure did.
Really?
Well, they weren't getting it fixed, so I went up there and I figured out what was going on, yeah.
Dang.
I noticed when I was like young, 18, 19, I'd
Yeah.
help my uncle do that. And about 28 years later, somebody wanted me to help me. Hey, it was like a 3-story.
Oh, man. It's a dangerous work.
Yeah, you lose
Yeah.
your nerve.
It is. It's
He's
dangerous.
sitting there hanging off the edge. Look, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
It's really
I was,
dangerous.
no, man.
Yeah, it is. You know, my father-in-law fell off a roof. My stepdad fell off a roof. In fact, I was on the county commission. We were fixing to vote on the budget, and I got an emergency call. My stepdad had been laying there about an hour and a half beside a 2-story home. He fell off trying to pull some vines down, and he was good at medicine. He was a doctor, but he wasn't good at any kind of other stuff.
Common
you
sense.
know. Well, yeah, he was a great guy, but he wasn't good at fixing things, you know.
Well, you better end up getting better at it, because if Trump keeps up, you're going to be back doing it.
What do you think about Trump and Elon, man?
I mean, I hate to see them squabbling like, you know, whatever. I don't know what the deal is between them two, but
Is it called ego?
it's very likely some of that or whatever.
Well, I told my wife said the other night, she goes, well, she said, you said this was going to happen. I said, this love fest ain't going to last long. That honeymoon's going to be over. I'm surprised it lasted this long. Can you usually just, you know, people, like there was a group, I won't say who, a group that I helped, and I told both of them separate. I said, y'all going to butt heads. And they're like, huh? I said, I told them, y'all going to butt, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say who. Yeah. And, but God, but the Lord had a part of bringing these folks together on a temporary basis to do a great deed that's going to, the success of this issue, some people know what I'm talking about. I don't say, because I don't talk about the personalities, but both of them are strong personalities. And, you know, if those folks could really work together, man, they'd be a powerhouse. But Rusty, you know, you deal with a lot of people. In fact, you know, not calling out any ethnicities, but you know a lot of foreign people, and not that it matters, but how do you deal with difficult personalities? And
well, on my job that actually makes money, I'm a commercial investment real estate agent.
Yeah.
So we do industrial, we do retail, we do, you name it, we do it. We've done, you know, flipped houses, flipped buildings, you know, whatever. So, but I deal with every ethnic group under the sun, and I enjoy it really, because I've eaten everything from the only stuff I really don't enjoy is Indian food, because it's so dang hot. I can't.
We just had a
kangaroo. That's
I mean, it was
kangaroo.
Remember he was talking about it at
Camel.
the bee market?
Yeah. Well, what was his name? Is May Patel.
Patel, yeah.
And then Roshan Bhatka.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ate some of those. What was those things you ate? And you said it.
Oh,
for you.
well, I called them hush puppies, but Marty called them flaming something.
Yeah.
They were really hot, but they're sweet people. I mean, the Indian folk. In fact, Bob Patel called me yesterday, no, day before yesterday, about doing a little proclamation. But sweet people, you know. Marty Luffman, you know Marty, don't you? Marty's got Sepna and Rocky Patel. And that helped him. And Marty's fortunate to have him, ladies, because there ain't many people that could put up with Marty Love. He's worse than you, Rusty.
and he's
he's
on hold, Mike.
And he's on hold. Yeah, go ahead.
He's about to unload on you, Mike.
Hey, man, how's it going? Hey, you there? Marty.
Hey, hello?
Are you there?
Yeah, are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Hey, and he locked the door too, where you couldn't get in.
Let him have it, Marty. Let him have it.
How you doing?
No, it's telling the truth. I am. At my age and everything, I'm difficult. I know
No,
that.
you know what's funny? You're better than you were years ago.
Oh, really?
Well, that's what the word on the street is. Seriously.
Okay. Well, I'll take it.
You know?
I'll take it.
How's
But I'm
Sepna?
unfortunate that I go through it.
We were
But
talking.
That's true. They have. I agree, man. That's tough. It goes in one end and flames come out the other. I got a comment, though. You're talking about those fish that you don't like that's in the Cumberland River and everything.
Yeah.
Well, back when we had the 2010 flood, I owned a Western store in Opry Mills.
Okay.
And when the flood came, it destroyed my store. It took everything I had, almost everything I had, and flushed it down the river. Well, I was talking to some people that was that had the Rainforest Cafe, and they had aquariums with piranha. And I said, we're talking about it because their aquariums broke. And I said, I bet your piranha went down the Cumberland. They said, there's no doubt about it. Said, they're supposed to be saltwater fish. But she said they will adapt to freshwater.
Yeah.
But all of the piranha, and she said there was about 100, 150.
Wow.
And they went down the Cumberland River.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but there was a stingray petting thing over there where they had these little stingrays that swam around over there in this one pool, and those went in the Cumberland too.
Really? Wow.
I remember those, yes.
The wildest thing I've heard about, though, here in the last month is there was a bull shark spotted in Gunnersville Lake.
Lake Gunnersville, Alabama?
Yeah, a bull shark. See, they've been coming, something about how the Mississippi was running or whatever. They can come up the Mississippi, and they somehow one of them got into Gunnersville or whatever. And I know they've been seeing them in Louisiana too, so they've come a lot farther upstream than what they were.
Yeah, I did hear about stuff in Louisiana that is pretty far-fetched.
Mm-hmm.
And then down in Huntsville, Alabama, where they got the Brown Ferry Dam?
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, my uncle worked on that when they were building it, and he said that the scuba divers would come up and talk about catfish. They were huge. They could swallow a man whole.
You ever seen one that big?
I've never seen one that big, no.
He's showing us a picture. You caught that?
Yeah.
He's showing us a picture. Hold it up to the camera.
That's
Maybe
wild.
people can see that. You see that camera? Hold up that camera right there. Oh, you're holding
Down
the
there.
light, dude. That's the light.
It's off. Your phone's off.
Hold it back.
Okay. Oh, the phone went off. That one
Well,
there.
what are
Oh,
y'all
yeah.
looking
There
at?
you go. There you
Wow, look
He's
at that
showing
thing.
that big catfish he caught.
Wow.
When'd you
That
catch?
one was 54.
When'd you catch that?
Del Holla.
Really?
Yeah.
go. 10-pound test.
20.
It's always a lot lighter with the fish already.
Yeah. 20. But yeah, there's some big ones in the lake. I caught one last week that was 25 bass fishing.
Are you talking about catfish?
Catfish, yeah. There's some giants under those dams, though. There have been some that were over, 100 pounds. I know under Loudon Dam, they went down there for something. I can't remember what it was, and they wouldn't stay down there. There was some they said as big as a car.
Yeah, I heard those stories. Yes. Yeah, sure did.
Has anybody been eaten by catfish?
I have no clue. I'd say they're not talking about it if they did.
But I used to hear, my father-in-law used to talk about that, that they big giant catfish like that in Priest.
Well, they do where they go under the rocks and grab them and all that,
Noodling.
And
noodling,
yeah.
Noodling.
Heck no, man.
There'd be girls going down there and getting them,
We
But
shot,
I thought you were the big dog.
hey, we shot 2 shows with the girls gone noodling, and Tony went with them and everything, and they said, "Were you going to do us?" I said, "Heck no."
You ever been
Hey.
magnet fishing? I've been wanting to go magnet fishing.
You just want to see if you can get a gun or something that you ain't supposed to have.
I dropped a watch at Fate Sanders when I was like 14 jumping off the bridge. I had a beautiful watch.
It was
and
$10.
disappeared.
Don't be worrying about it.
It's probably where the piranhas were.
Don't tell them what's underneath there, though. You know it?
Yeah, on
Big
certain
old
places.
water snake, big old water
Have you
moccasin.
ever done any magnet fishing?
Yeah, I've done a little bit. Yeah.
Are you allowed? Do they get onto you? TWRA get onto you for that?
I don't know about that. No, I mean,
They didn't know.
you know, around docks where people drop stuff off.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
Yeah. What size line would you have to use?
I'd be using 100 or something, so that
Really?
if you hung something that you had to get up, you have to have something you can pull it up with.
Yeah. What size magnet would you need to use?
I mean, they make them all different sizes.
That would be wild.
Little horseshoe magnet. little
Horseshoe
toy
magnet, yeah.
These things. Let's do it. You know, I bought a boat 2 years ago and they didn't even use it yet.
That's probably a good thing for other people.
one. The rates are safe, aren't they?
You know, I hadn't been on lake in a while. You know, back when I was in my 20s, I had a jet ski rental business, and we'd run out there, and we were out there. Is it East Fork? Man, we were running out there, and I hit something on the water, man. Boom! And I just knew I sunk that jet ski. It
Oh,
scared
man.
me.
It
And
was
I
a stump.
I guess it was a
It was
stump.
probably a swimmer.
I hit something,
Somebody
man.
died
You
under
know,
swimming around.
I know. It's I haven't been out there in a long time.
Oh, well, oh yeah, since they closed it down.
You know, no, that's where you hung out at.
We need to educate you again on where the rocks are, because Priest is a rock lake.
Tell me
Any
about it,
stump?
man.
Any stumps left out there? You
Yeah.
stumps.
No, they're mainly rocks, and they don't move really well.
Where do you put in at? Where's your favorite? I mean, on Priest, where's your favorite place to put in at?
Well, I'm 2 miles from Long Hunter, so that'd be where I put in at the
You
most.
still got the place out there? Bob Pope, is it Bob Pope's old place?
No,
you sell it?
the guy that's got it's talking about putting it back up for sale. But no, I've got my mom's out there, my son's out there, I'm out there. We all have different houses around that area, though.
Yeah. Well, you did what'd you do? A VRBO with that place for a while?
Yeah, and it worked me to death.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do with all that money you're making?
Let me put it this way: the worst event you can have is not a bachelor party; it's a bachelorette party.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cat fights.
You know the hot tubs. They like to get up on top of the hot tub and dance, but those hot tub covers are made of foam. So I used to have a collection of them where they were caved in the middle.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What'd you get a week on a VRBO?
Well,
Week,
just-
or did you go about 2 days, 3 days? What'd you do?
that place had like 6, 7 bedrooms and had another pool house. So if it was a wedding or something, it could be on up there. But
Describe, for folks who are listening, describe where that house is located. A lot of folks would know it when you describe it.
it's on Hobson Pike.
yeah.
When you cross the Hobson Pike Bridge going back towards Mount Juliet, it sits on the left. It's got a lot of big white columns on it.
Yeah, if you're going towards Mount Juliet, it'll be
yeah.
kind of after the curve,
On the left hand
and
side.
there's a stucco house across the street, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking there was a stucco house.
No,
in that
there's
area.
big. It's a big brick house straight across the street.
But back in the day, that's where they that was a slaughter area.
Well,
for the
I still own where the
meat
barn
company.
is, and about 26 acres past it, and that was where the Elm Hill did their slaughter.
Hill.
You're right.
man, I remember it had a bad smell to it back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You remember going through there?
No.
Do you remember, Roger?
No.
You don't remember that? Okay.
I remember I was your paper boy.
Yeah, you said, boy. Yeah.
We might be younger than you, Mike. I don't know.
Well, I just usually he remembers more than I do. I don't even know why we went through there.
Well, I know
But-
a guy that used to work there, and he said I think it had butchered like 3,000 pigs a day, maybe.
Wow.
Have you ever heard that? That's what he would tell.
Yeah.
He told me.
Wow. Really?
Well, the old concrete flooring part of it is like where it's got texture, where they've laid it where it had texture, because you think about it,
Slip.
a cow can't come in and they'll fall all over the place.
Wow. Is Marty, are you still on the line, by the way?
He's still
Oh,
there, yeah.
yeah.
Are you being entertained, Marty? Yeah, we just want.
We need to take a quick break. Last week we forgot to take a break.
Oh.
But I'm gonna hang up and listen. Okay.
All right, thank you,
All right,
brother.
buddy.
Have a good Marty.
All right,
See you, Marty.
We'll be right back.
Josh Moss with Affordable Heating and Cooling provides residential HVAC and duct cleaning services to the Middle Tennessee area. With more than 20 years of experience, Josh Moss and the AHC team provide 24/7 service and take care to ensure whatever work you need done is done in a professional, timely manner. Contact AHC at 615-745-1676. That's 615-745-1676. Or go to their website at affordableheatingandcoolingtn.com.
AFFI is Middle Tennessee's premier choice for pest, wildlife, and moisture control. They specialize in those difficult and unique cases. You can reach them by phone at 615-300-2395. That's 615-300-2395. Or stop in at 200 Glenrose Lane in Smyrna.
Most people know that their insurance can provide them with coverage for the many life's mishaps. But I can help you also unlock discounts, save money, and get benefits with Farmers Insurance Policy Perks. Whether we're discussing home or auto insurance, I am here to help you understand these great perks. Call me, Mark Lewis, at 615-625-7070 for a quote, and you can get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available select Farmers branded policies underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate.
My wife and I enjoy going by Yard Sale Inc. We usually go to both locations, the one in Smyrna as well as the one in Murfreesboro. A lot of times on Saturday mornings we stop by, and their inventory changes weekly, so you never know what you're going to see, and it's mostly open box. The name fits it. It's exactly that. It's a yard sale. If you don't totally agree with the price, the staff is always friendly and nice and willing to work with you.
That's the Yard Sale store in Smyrna at 111 Enon Springs Road West, in Murfreesboro at 204 South Front Street, and online at bestdealintown.com.
Hey, I'm Floyd, and I'm inviting you to join me at CR. That's Celebrate Recovery. We meet at Family Worship Center, 3045 Memorial Boulevard on Sunday at 6 p.m. We're a 12-step Christ-centered program that offers help for all the hurts, habits, and hang-ups that's causing you pain. The program works if you work it, and I'm proof. For other CR groups, go to CelebrateRecovery.com and click on the group finder. Hope to see you soon.
Hi, this is Allie Dowenhauer with Isaiah 117 House. Isaiah 117 House provides physical and emotional support for children awaiting foster care placement here in Rutherford County. We are changing the way foster care begins, and those kiddos are brought to our house to hang out and wait for a foster family, and they're given everything they need. We support foster children, DCS, and foster families here in Rutherford County. Visit us at www.isaiah117house.com or visit our Facebook page, Isaiah 117 House, Rutherford County.
All right, we're back. Conversation Mike Sparks. I'm host Mike Sparks. Got my buddy Rusty Russ, Roger Thomas, Jeremy Smithson, and Connor, our producer. And Rusty, let's talk about real estate. You kind of the master of real estate. How's the market right now? And
well, it started out really, really strong this year. We closed several pretty large deals right off the bat, and even, you know, the housing market has more of a surplus right now. It seems like, for whatever reason, Wilson County is moving a little quicker than other places, and it's probably the amount of industrial that's coming into there that they're, you know, moving into there for their jobs or whatever. But we still haven't really seen a significant drop in the interest rate, which would, I think, help spark everything. But you know, the guys with money are still doing some deals. We just got a shopping center approved over on South Rutherford about 2 months ago on 3 acres, and working with one of the, I can't say this name, but one of the auto retailers on another site right now that they're putting in over on South Rutherford. And anyway, so there are deals happening, but you know, my phone's not ringing every 10 minutes like it, you know, where I'm normally the rudest man in the room.
Yeah.
You know, and but when I get a call, it's usually somebody that can end up doing a deal. So.
You get a lot of almost, I don't want to say foreign investment, but folks looking.
Well, I get all kind of different investors, because that's what I've done, and I've showed people how to make money at real estate, and you know, I do it too. So I think we own about 130,000 feet of real estate right now.
Really?
So, you know, we just bought another shopping center in Rockwood, Tennessee, and we've been working on it. It's a Harbor Freight Anchor Center. So, you know, we do all kind of different stuff, and we'll take the ugliest thing you can find and redo it and put a new roof on it and repaint it.
Well, you said it was kind of a surplus, but yet it's not a buyer's market.
No, it's not on the commercial because there's so many investors in here close. We do the whole state of Tennessee though, so we'll look at stuff all over the state. We handle the farthest one away in Tennessee. We handle in Bristol, which is about 4.5 hours from us. It's a shopping center there that's has Tractor Supply going into it right now. So,
you know, I had a meeting. I think I called you about it. Mr. Charles Jones, who grew up at Old Jefferson, he owns the Milky Way Farm, and he had bought a house from us. It was my son's house. Had to sell it to Brenda Bride. He put the money up, and then she closed on it last year. But what he's wanting to do, I think he owned the Macy's at Hickory Hollow. I think he owns the Macy's at Rivergate. Owns a couple of the Macy's throughout the Southeast. And you know, he's fixed to be 95. He's wanting to do a project. His vision is to do an apartment complex where say a young couple leases for 5 years, and at the end they'll come out with a little bit of a rebate, like a little nest egg of $10,000-$12,000, and they could take that and go put towards a house purchase.
Use it for a down stroke.
Yeah, and he's saying, you know, as long as he'll still get his return that he's after, and he, you know, meeting with THDA, had Bob Freeman Webb, and Bob had asked me, because Bob's father and Mr. Jones had done a few deals together. I think it's called the Wortham Bag Factory or something. I think he bought it, or I think he either sold it to Freeman or Freeman bought it from him, turned it to condos or something. But
that was in Nashville. Yeah,
and but like I told Bob, I said, man, we know we got a crisis on our hands, and affordable housing crisis. But what's your thoughts with, well, like, I think it was you and somebody else said good luck on finding something affordable to do some type of a project like that. But man, what's your advice to young people today? Not just young, but middle-aged, or even seniors that are trying to find affordable housing.
I mean, you gotta have people helping you look. I mean, unless you're just blessed by the Lord, because it's a tougher market. And you know, if I'm hunting for something for a young couple, I'm trying to find something with a little sweat equity in it that they can do some paint work, or maybe you know, do some general maintenance stuff, or it might be needing a roof in 2 years or something or whatever. But there's different things you can find still that you can get a better price on everything. But it's still the best investment to build your your net worth is your home is your best investment you make.
Where do you see the end? I mean, it's really kind of unsustainable. It looks to me like the market is totally unsustainable where we're at. But where do you see it in next year or 5 years from now?
Here's what I'm trying to figure out, and what everybody did, because, you know, what I think I see Trump trying to do is change, you know, get the manufacturing back up and everything. But the way it's done, and with these, you know, the other stuff, it's got a lot of people just on hold, just trying to see what's going to happen next. You know, I think that we are starting to see a few results. The price of gas has come down some, and things like that, and which helps the price of food and everything. But it's kind of a wait and see right now, you know, on some of that stuff. And you know, and you've got investors that are kind of sitting by the wayside right now, just waiting to see what's, you know, that everything's headed in the right direction.
Yes. Well, I called you about that apartment complex, that old, what's it called over on Mercer Road? Because you've got both sides of that.
Yeah, I can't say that though.
Okay,
I can't say that name, but yeah, I've got several lots available on
for years.
Yeah.
You know, and but if you're a young couple, do you look to Bedford County? Do you look to Coffee County? Where do you start looking?
I'm gonna tell you, it's just a matter of putting a circle 45 minutes from where you live, or 30 minutes, or whatever you're comfortable on your drive time, and looking in that perimeter. And you can, about any agent can do a search in those areas and keep an ongoing search going, and anything that pops up, you know, or there's always auctions that are going on or whatever, you know, there's a lot of.
But you think if you say, you know what, we're gonna move, I'm gonna move out to Manchester.
Watertown, yeah.
Well,
whatever.
Watertown may be a little better. I mean, the drive on 24 is atrocious.
Well, that's the thing. If you're working in downtown Nashville, that's not a sustainable deal because it's going to drive you crazy because, you know, even me, if I have a 4 o'clock meeting in Nashville, it's took me 2 hours to get home from there. At times where they were just you can't hit a side road, you can't do anything with the way the traffic is now if it's a major wreck on one of the main intersections.
Well, I know speaking of driving, I know my intern Tiffany is on hold. She would take the bus from Murfreesboro to the state capitol, and from what I remember, you know, she seemed to like it. Tiffany, you there? Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I thought you were coming up to the studio.
I'm still in Smyrna, man. I'm trying to make.
Are you stuck in traffic?
No, I went by and saw a friend, and I looked up. I said, "Oh, I guess I'm gonna call in and not gonna make it."
Okay. Well, we were talking about the traffic in Nashville. What you took the WeGo this whole year, didn't you? Did you enjoy it?
You know what? Early on, I did. But it's a mixed bag, I'll say that. Some days they have us on the long bus. The other days, you know, the bus will be down. They put us on a small bus. But to be at the Capitol at 8 o'clock, I will leave out about 5:40 to catch the bus.
Wow.
You're talking about dedication.
That's about what time I clock in for work every morning.
How come you're not working for Mike anymore?
Well, I'm trying to hook a sister up. She's had a couple leads. You got your resume to a couple of folks today, didn't you?
That's right, I did. I sent it out actually to a lot of people. I even sent it out to NPR radio, you know. So I just try to be
NPR.
Yeah.
You don't want to go work for them.
As their public, yeah.
Hey, you know who you need to apply to? I just thought about this Department of Motor Vehicle, man. Them folks need some help bad. I don't know if you've tried to get your license. Seriously, they need some help.
I don't want to go over there.
No.
I'm serious.
There's some wild part.
Man, the lady said it's going to be a 3.5 hour wait. I was like, what? And
I don't think you're supposed to pass time joyously at the DMV, you know?
Well, the staff, in all fairness, the staff they were really nice. I went out to Lebanon to get it done, but I know you got your resume to a department of the day, and you know, and you'll make a great employee. I would not apply at NPR, man. They're the most biased. I listened to them the other day. It was nothing but trashing Republicans. They were literally lobbying. Taxpayer dollars are paying for lobbyists to lobby against Trump's legislation, whether you like it or not. I mean, we shouldn't have a political arm like NPR out there lobbying. It was just, it was anti-Christian. Within 5 minutes, this is everything I heard, and I thought, man, our tax dollars are paying for this. It's just sad. You don't need to. You're too good of a person to go work for them.
Oh, thank you, Mike. All right, I ain't gonna take the job.
No, don't. Go WKRN or something, you know, or Fox 17.
Yeah, have you ever thought about running for the House of Representatives?
No.
That's right.
Did you have a good time watching the Blue Angels?
Around there, hey, it gets really crazy.
Oh, it does get crazy. Oh, you watched it. Tell them about that craziness you seen. It was some like evil, demonic, a fake priest cussing in front of little kids, didn't you? You seen that?
Yeah, we saw that one. So Mike and I just left. We just left.
I had my school bus legislation. I had the president of NAACP testifying. You know, Rusty, we're the most restrictive in the world to drive a school bus. The most restrictive in the world. I can't make this up. In fact, I'm reminded of a Reagan quote where he said, "Government's not the solution to our problem. Government is a problem." And that school bus legislation, it was the Department of Motor Vehicle literally lobbying. That girl's probably making $120,000 to lobby against legislation that would put people to work. We've got a crisis shortage of school bus drivers. If I'd have hired lobbyists, we passed it on our side. It failed in the Senate by one vote. But you've seen that protester, heckler, fake priest literally cussing in front of little kids, didn't you?
Yeah, you see a lot of that even up in the gallery. I've seen people praying with rocks.
With what?
So it's praying with rocks.
With rocks?
they're not like regular witches, like Wiccans.
Yeah. Yeah, it's some demonic
I know
stuff.
What you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yep.
you see that, and then again, like a lot of the, like he said, like a lot of the fake priests, we didn't even have our coffee yet, man. It wasn't even 8:20 in the morning.
she was new. We're getting on the elevator, and I was trying. You try to be nice, and that lady kept cussing in front of them kids. And
well.
did I? Well, tell how good I handled it then.
Man, he handled it so well. I thought we was going to have to fight. But he held up the elevator and just started pointing at her. You need to stop disrespecting those kids. And this lady was like, you're passing bills and killing people. And I was like, oh my God,
killing
what
people?
is he doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny. Look, it's 5:56. You got to get off the air. I'm downstairs.
What did I call that woman, by the way?
What did you? You called her a fake priest.
He said, and you a fake priest is what you are. She's a fake priest. That's what we got today, folks. It's crazy. We're living in some strange times.
And then she bought you something to eat.
Oh, she brought me, and I gave it to you, didn't I? I said, you eat this.
You were trying to use her like.
They did bring me up. Was it a burrito or some kind of taco?
Yeah, it was some burrito.
Well,
Elsie said it was good.
Well, I gave it to my sister. Here, you can have this. But no, the young man with her, he's a likable young man. He's kind of a protester, but he is a likable young man. I've got to talk to him about, because you do have to reach people and try to put some common sense in their heads. She got mad. She got mad at me and stormed out of the office. It was funny, but I like the guy that's with her. I forgot what's that guy's name. That protester.
I don't know his name, but I know his face.
He's a good guy. He's 19. Now we got 2 more minutes. But I invited him to the office, and he hung out with me, and I said, man, what are you doing up here? And he said, my grandmother died. He said she just quit all her medication because it got to be so expensive. And I think the boy was being real. I think he was being straight up and honest, and I respect somebody for coming up with their conviction and passion. But it's hard to respect people when they're holding up a KKK sign and they're flipping you birds and they're cussing you, and there's little 6 and 8-year-old kids and 10-year-olds are using as props. I don't have no respect for that. I'm reminded of the scripture in Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not among flesh and blood, but among spiritual principalities and heavenly realms. And this is what this stuff is. It's demonic. And but Tiffany, thank you for being an awesome intern, and thank you for calling in.
Just love her to death.
Hey, girl.
Oh, wow.
She's an awesome.
Whoa.
Is this girl
Yo.
bougie or what? She a bougie. She bougie. Speaking of bougie, we got how many seconds? 7 seconds. You want to say something? Here.
No.
Yeah.
Rusty.
Have a great day.
All right, thank you. Rusty, give you last word. Go ahead, Rusty.
All right, yeah, just everybody remember Father's Day, and if you are a father, keep training up them youngsters the way you want them to come up.
Amen. Somebody else do it for you if you don't.